Hello, welcome to Individual Perspective Podcast. I am your host, Daris D, McKinney, and we're just going to have a conversation. No graphics, always graphics, but no clips and all that stuff. We're going to just have a conversation, Trump said that he's gonna give a address to Congress tonight, and the theme of it is telling it like it is. You know what I mean? Telling it how it is. I gotta change my title because I think it's telling it like it is. Like it is. Yeah, telling it like it is. And in the vein of that, I told myself, you almost gotta, as a thinker, as a plotter, as a person that's actually kind of figuring out things and working things out and stuff, sometimes if you spend months and months like that, sometimes you're gonna have to communicate your motives, how can I say, you're trying to make sure that I communicate well in this podcast. So forgive me for my pauses. Sometimes I just, of course I like to just ramble and everything, but sometimes it's better to be a little bit more absolute and coherent and well communicative about what you're saying. So sometimes a person, when they're plotting, when they're thinking, when they're striving, when they're actually physically doing and actually accomplishing big goals and stuff like that, sometimes they keep it internally because they got to keep themselves in a mindset. You just got to put what you're trying to do, put it in your behavior now. It's not a thought anymore. You have to transition it from a thought into action. And the best way to do that sometimes is to just do it and don't even talk about it and just do it. So if you spend yourself being isolated and very kind of plotting in your head what needs to get done and why it needs to get done, and you're doing it, and then additional to that, you're not being able to communicate it to why you did that, or what your motives are, and what your ideology is on that, or what your mindset is on that. And sometimes you're gonna have to allow yourself, after months of execution or months of in the foxhole with yourself, you're gonna have to communicate what's up, what's the thought process here. And that's when you tell it like it is. Okay, so that's what this podcast is about. Me kind of in my own podcast talking about what I'm doing and why my mindset is the way it is, and why I'm not shifting. I'm not even budging out of it. I think it's the best for me, and it's because our society is so broken, but it's unrepairable. So we need to really kind of adjust to what it is. You can't really want a better society and then you're trying to move like what you want it to be like. You're kind of moving like what it is. You know what I mean? You're better off moving like what it is, because you'll bang your head against the wall trying to move like what you want it to be, because you're not in a vacuum by yourself. You're dealing with human beings and other human beings, like stores and restaurants and other commerce situation, and family members and friends and colleagues, and the craft that you're in, or the market that you're in, and the economics, what's the S&P doing, what the NASDAQ is doing, all that plays a factor. What the government is doing, what liberals are doing, what conservatives are doing. People think that stuff don't play a factor in every move you make. Exterior, your house, even your house, it plays a factor to it. And I'm telling you, the truth of the matter is, and I'm just going to be very honest on this podcast, everything is part of our life. Everything. And you're not going to be able to make a judgment on it to say, well, that's not, well, I'm not going to worry about that because I'd rather worry about this. You can't. You got to, it's all encompassing, and you have to move in a certain absolute way, in a continuity way, to make sure that you're getting the outcome that you want, no matter what the occasion is or the scenario is. So I know I'm very expressive. I'm sorry, but my name is Daris D. McKinney. I'm the host of Individual Perspective Podcast. I'd like you guys to like, follow, and subscribe. And please go into our description area, give $1, $2 to our Venmo or PayPal. Is much needed. I have to ask that because I'm trying to grow it, but obviously I'm getting flagged. I'm getting demonetized. I'm getting, like, I don't know, maybe the titles or some of the stuff that I'm saying in the description, because YouTube, when you do a video, it does transcribe what you're saying, and whatever I'm saying is so not part of the mainstream that I'm getting my channel smothered. Now, if I do like 15-second clips and stuff, it'll boom. I could get a lot of hits on it. But even that, I'm thinking that they're starting to actually smother that. And I'm all over the place. I'm Rumble and everything like that. But I'm not even gonna boo-hoo and cry about my situation. I'll do what I gotta do. I podcast how I gotta podcast. Even on the road, I'm doing hard work and I'm trying to turn it up and level myself up and give myself the grandeur and excellence. And I'm trying to execute on some very big work that I've did over the last 6 years, and I'm trying to give it to you guys. And because I'm a filmmaker and I did a lot of films and stuff, and I really worked hard to bring you multiple films over the last 6 years, and my goal is to pretty much release it to you guys within the coming months. So in that endeavor, it's a lot, and I'm doing it solo because, they're big things that I've done, and to really get it done efficiently, I'm only willing to actually go where I need to go, because I could just throw spaghetti against the wall. That's what's on Tubi anyway, a bunch of spaghetti. But I felt like, if I never make a film again, all the films that I made over the last 6 years, I need to respect them and treat them like there's something that I can respect 20 years from down the road. And I will want you guys to respect them 20 years down the road and say, you know what, it's a good effort. That's a good independent presentation. That's professional. And that's what I'm doing. But that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe on another time we'll get into the film stuff. But we're going to tell it like it is right now. We're going to have a conversation about what it is. Okay. So my name is Daris D. McKinney. Like I said, please like, follow, and subscribe. Go to the Venmo and the PayPal in the description area. Give $1, $2, $5. Come on, y'all. Help me out here. But all I can do is ask and keep going forward. Okay? So let's get started. And we got some work to do. Hey, back. Okay, so let's get started. And it's not really, getting started. It's more like making sure we communicate what we going on here. Something's wrong with my banner here. Trying to figure out what's going on here. Like, why is I don't have my logo on my banner. Okay, we'll get to it. I'll do it. I'll do it as we talk, as we communicate. You know what I mean? But anyway, so my goal in this podcast is to kind of just have an open conversation of how I look at politics, how I look at the world, social relationships, just our interaction and everything like that. Just do a little kind of rant about it. You know what I mean? So this is more of a freestyle, of a communicative, telling it like it is podcast. Tonight, President Donald J. Trump is gonna do a address to Congress. It's like a State of the Union and everything, or pretty much they say, I mean, it's his first year, so technically can't give a State of the Union if it's your first year of your actual administration, your term. And it's his second term, but this is the first year of his addressing the country. And technically, you can't address the country until you had a year of work where you're implementing your policies, and then you're communicating about how did it work out. Okay, so he's getting ahead of the curve and really talking to the American people to kind of explain to them why his policies are the way they are and why he's doing what he's doing. That way, throughout the year leading into next year, they can kind of understand why things needed to go in the path that they needed to go. It's very, very transparent. You know what I mean? So that's what he's doing. But he's kind of themed it as he's just going to tell it like it is. And I felt like, yeah, we do need to have more conversations about telling it like it is. Fox News is all that I feel that you could technically tolerate as a media outlet. You know what I mean? It's really, really, really hard to get the news and reporting. And if I'm telling you Fox News is pretty much all that we got to kind of see some kind of objectivity implemented into news outlet, that's pretty sad. Because the truth of the matter, if you were to vet every single hour of the day over the last 12 to, I'll say 8 to 12 years of Fox News, and for them to be the best that we got, that's pretty sad, because 80% of the time they fail at reporting. Now, Fox News fell at reporting 80%, and they're the best we got. I'm telling you this. I've vetted it. I know. And what I mean by fail is they kind of have the perception of fair and balanced. So in their ideology, they're going to let Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives have their point of view on the shows, on the airwaves, on the media circuit of what they're pushing out. And that gives you that they're being fair and balanced. But what if one side is absolutely in everything they say, they're gaslighting? And the definition of gaslighting is accusing you of something that they're doing. You know what I mean? Or better yet, put it in a better communicative way. They're accusing you of something, literally just accusing you of something that they're doing. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna try to minimize that, or kind of not even minimize it, but sugarcoat that. That's exactly what it is. You get what I'm saying? And and when I'm doing this, I'm just looking up gaslighting just to be clear about it, because I know what it means. But this podcast is about us being very objective and honest and blunt. Okay? So gaslighting. Okay, this is what the liberals say, and that's WebMD. Okay? Gaslighting is emotionally abusive strategy that causes someone to question their feelings, thoughts, and sanity. If someone, this is even better. I was wrong, you guys. This is what gaslighting means. It's very interesting. Okay, so let me finish reading. Gaslighting is an emotional. I'm sorry. Let me repeat this again. Gaslighting is emotionally abusive strategy that causes someone to question their feelings, thoughts, and sanity. If someone gaslights you, they're attempting to make you question reality. That's what that means. And I know that's what that means, but I got it actually confused with another point that I wanted to make about how politicians are and how liberals are and everything. But gaslighting is the actual point that I wanted to communicate to you guys in this communication of what I'm telling you about politics, okay? Not just social dynamics of everything. The purpose of gaslighting is to convince you that you can't trust your thoughts and instincts. Okay. Meaning that let me rewind and let me put my mind back together, because let me be honest with you guys. I'm so heated, so stressed. My blood pressure is high. I'm so angry. Very much, very, very much. I'm being very communicative and very cordial as I do this podcast, because that's how I am. Even in the most high octane situation, I get more focused. You know what I mean? I get more focused. So, but underneath it all, I'm very disappointed. I'm sad. And I'm angry. And I'm vengeful too, in a way, I guess. And it's all bad things, I know. You know, if you want to walk like Jesus, you need to let a lot of things just fall to the wayside and let it be. You know, and I understand that. And that's why I'm communicating it, and I'm just keeping it to myself and staying quiet and motivated and moving forward through the things I need to execute on. But I want you to understand, when I'm communicating right now through this podcast, I am hesitating. I am conflating angry rants that I want to say, or things that I'm thinking of preemptively and I want to communicate, but it's not the time to communicate it. So it's me jumps in front of something that I'm communicating, and it may scramble up the way it might make what I'm saying confusing to you guys. So I'm trying to hesitate a little bit, gather my thoughts, and then communicate. Okay? Because podcast is a audio forum. It is about communicating verbally in audio form. The visuals and stuff like that, it's just to kind of, give you guys visualization, because that's what the market is saying, that people want podcasts with the visuals too. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys to understand when I'm hesitating, when I'm not really fluid in my thoughts. It's not that I'm not communicating well or have the ability to communicate somewhat well. It's that I'm hesitating to communicate what I'm thinking because it may be a little bit too harsh or too profane or maybe a little bit too rough or maybe something that I would regret what I communicated later. And I always feel that if I give a podcast and I record something, I'd rather let it live raw because it is just, meaning that it's something that I can come back to 20 years down the road and I won't regret that I released it. So when I do a podcast, no matter how much I hesitate or I control what I'm communicating or halt or stutter maybe sometimes, I am fluid in my thoughts. I'm just trying to gather how I want to communicate it at that moment. Because once I say it, I'm not going to take it off the internet. I'm not going to take it off of existence. Okay? So I wanted to communicate to you guys what my emotions is and what my mindset is, and the anger and the frustration and the disappointment that I am seeing in, or I'm experiencing in human interaction. Okay. So, all in all, I want to tell you guys, like in Donald Trump's communication tonight, he's going to kind of explain why he's doing what he's doing with Doge and shrinking and firing a lot of people, you know, in government, because truthfully, we allow a lot of people to be employed by government, and it was never meant to be that way. It was never meant to be that way. You're not supposed to have more people working for the government that works for Apple. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to have more people that work for government that works for the number one company in the world. You understand that? That was never how it was supposed to have been. More people work for the government than that works for ExxonMobil. You get what I'm saying? The biggest conglomerate companies in the world, Earth, and our government, United States of American government, has more employees working for it. More employees working for our government that's working for Walmart. That's an error. That's an error. Okay? And I'm so upset that I'm saying this and I'm communicating something that's very intellectually accurate. But the average person is probably listening to this and saying, wow, I didn't think of it like that. That's an error that you didn't think of it like that. That's what's destroying us. That's what's hurting everything we're trying to accomplish in each other's lives. Individualism, what we got going for our own self. We're hurting each other for the things that are so common sense that we're not vetting and we're not making sure that it's executed in life. So the things that are just so accurate and logical out of being, and it's just the way it is. We don't even demand it because of normality, meaning that we don't demand just the basics because it's normal that we don't have the basics. It's normal that the basics get shitted on and destructively hurt or not even executed on. Not even executed on. I didn't want to cuss, but that's what I told you guys. So much anger. So I'm saying that because as he's trying to communicate to 90 IQ people, if we lucky 105 IQ people, because I think that's where that average person in the country, they IQ range at like 90 to 106. If we're lucky, maybe the average person, I'm hoping that the average person's IQ get up to like 110. So 90 to 110, because that somewhat you could kind of find some kind of humanity, and just not even humanity, it's some kind of basic understanding if your IQ ranges from 90 to 110. Basic understanding. So when President Donald Trump is trying to communicate to everybody tonight in the state, not even state of address, because it's addressed to Congress. It's a way to talk to the people, but at the same time talk to government to let everybody understand what he's doing and what his motives are and what he's trying to execute. He's only been in office for literally 41, 42 days. Okay. And why is the eggs prices up? How could he bring the egg prices down when a bird flu was running rapid through our farms and our egg production all last year, all the previous years before, where Biden and his administration and Trump is supposed to solve the egg shortage issue 40 days in office. And everybody like, yeah, whoa, well, you. And then he comes in and he says that other countries are putting tariffs and VAT taxes on us, and he's going to respond in likeness to them. That's what his policies is, reciprocal tariffs. And a lot of people say, well, that certain country, they don't have a tariff on us, but they got a VAT tax on us. So it's like a tariff. They just call it something different. Meaning that they tax products that we send into their country, but when they send their products into our country, we don't tax them. So, for example, because I know most people, you guys are extremely disappointing. So let me break this down to you. If we send cheese over to London or Germany or France or the Asian countries, okay? If we send cheese over there from our farmers and we mark it as, okay, is $3 for this cheese. When we send it over to London or any other country, they put $3 taxes on that cheese. So now it's $6 for the cheese that we sent over to their country to be put into their stores. They put another $3 charge on or pretty much tax or value on our actual product, our cheese that we put into London, because it makes that our cheese is more expensive than the cheese that they natively produce in London. So what they make, the cheese that they make in London, they keep it at $3. But the cheese that we send over to actual London, we don't need them to we send it over there and we still can keep the price margins at $3. So when they go on the shelf, it's the same value of the market cheese that they have in the country. But they put another $3 on our cheese to mark it up in order for the citizens of London to say, oh, well, I'd rather buy the cheese that's from London because it's cheaper than American cheese. So they've been doing that for 50 years of cars, carpets, whatever we produce in America, t-shirts, whatever, like milk, meat, cheese, whatever, beer, whatever we send over to other countries. I'm telling y'all, everybody been doing this. Japan, China, London, France, Germany, Everybody been doing this to us. So when we send our product over there, they mark it up by putting an extra tax on it. So if they say, well, if you're gonna sell your stuff inside our country, we're gonna tax you this amount to sell that into our country. So you're gonna pay us for every product, off every purchase of the product. We're gonna take this amount of tax off of it, so you can pay us to have your products here. And we don't do the same. So Trump said, you know what? Because we're losing by y'all doing that every single year, all through the year on all different products and everything, we end up paying you guys about $350,000. I'm sorry, 300. We end up paying by you guys. I want to make sure I'm clear. By you guys keep taxing our products and putting a tariff price on our products or VAT tax on our products, you market our products up so much, and then you making us pay to have that products into you're making us pay extra to have that products in your market. In order for us to have that products in your market, we end up through the whole year sending products and meat and cars and all that stuff like that. If it gets purchased and you guys take your chunk out of it, and we end up paying $350 billion, $200 billion, $300 billion, $400 billion in these different countries that we actually pay that for all the product that we putting into the country, into their country. Okay, so by them doing that, we have a less demand from their market. Because their market says, hey, it's too expensive. Only really wealthy people or higher middle class people can purchase this. So if they like it, they can purchase it, and you can make money off of those people. But we could have more of the margins if they didn't put the tax on it, if they didn't put the tariff on our products. So in order to stop that, Trump has to say, okay, to fair this out, we got to hit y'all up on your products. And no matter how much it is, we got the same amount that you put on our products in your country. We're going to put on the products in we're going to put that amount on your products in our country. And we purchase more. We actually consume more than other countries consume from us. Our country, do you understand the last 40 years we have been majority consumer-based company, meaning that we purchase stuff outside our country, bring it into the country, we actually mark it up and sell it to the people within our country and get a markup price valuation of it. And that's how a lot of people have been getting rich here in our country. Not that they actually provide a service or something that they're actually manufacturing in our country. Most of the things that they make money on in our country, our citizens, most of the things that they make money on in our country is done exterior our country, manufactured, built, made outside our country. We bring it back in here and we 3 times the value it here in the country in order to pay for the manufacturing, pay for the stocking of it, and make a profit off of it. And that's what Americans are doing to Americans because we consume. You get what I'm saying? So if we're not manufacturing products anymore, how is the country making money? How is all the people that you're seeing in these big $500,000, $600,000 houses, because that's the average house now, how are they making money now? They're making money off of you not knowing your value. Off of you needing them to do administrative work for you, because if you're valued enough that you need that work done because you're providing a service to another person from something that you're doing, that's how most people are making the money, off administration stuff. You know what I mean? So I say this, I want to be very clear about this because you got to understand, 50 years ago, I'll say 60. Let's poke into to the 60s and the 50s and the 60s. The truth of the matter was, most men, we provided the actual income in a household. Most men was. So if it, like they say, the population right now is six women to 5 men. So or maybe my mathematics is wrong there. 6 to 4 men. So like it's 60% women, 40% men. Okay. And if that's the true valuation of our country, if it's 50-50, let's say it's 50-50. Okay. To be fair, if it's 50-50, 50% of the men in our country used to provide all economic stability to a household and a family. Okay. To the progression of illogical point of views, like women's rights, women in the workforce, women voting, subservient to societal's will, men have transitioned out of being the dominant 100% breadwinner of the household to 50% breadwinner of the household, or the possibility of making the money that exists in the country. Okay? So, if they were making $1 for what they were doing, they only make 50 cents now. Why? Because you have a whole female workforce that has come into the actual workforce to vie for that same specific job. So the demand of paying that $1 to one individual is not necessary anymore. You might can get 3 employees for the $1. You know what I'm saying? That's the worst case scenario of it. That everybody get paid 30 cents of the $1. You know what I mean? At the most, if an efficient company is doing it, that's what they're doing at the most. Otherwise, they're splitting it. They're doing 50 cent, 50 cent. You know what I'm saying? So now they get 2 employees for the $1 instead of 1 for the $1. That has been happening for 40 to 50 years. Heavy and steady. That's why you see the economic power of a man has devalued. So now the level up culture says that we don't care what the situation is. If you over the age of 40 and you're not making 6 figures, you deserve to get shot like a dead dog or an injured dog or an injured horse. So we decided that our culture and how we implement our communication and how we value each other, that if you're a garbage man making $56,000 a year, or you're a Walmart stock shelfer or a Meijer stock shelfer, if you're a Chick-fil-A worker making about $40,000 to $50,000 a year, or even let's range it, because I think it's really $27,000 to about $50,000 a year that a fast food worker or a restaurant worker or a actual store clerk or a stock person or somebody can make. Some of our low end jobs and stuff, that's the range. It's $27,000 to $56,000 that they're ranging, and the like 10, 15, 20 years of working for that company. So our culture says those people don't deserve respect. They don't deserve to have families. They don't deserve to have a marriage. They don't deserve to have kids. They are bottom of the dumpster. And I'm listen, I told you guys, I got to tell you like it is. This is how the average human being in our culture, in our country, looks at these people and how they're communicating about these people. Okay? So you have people working at these jobs devaluing anybody else that works in the situation that they're working in lower. They devalue the value of them lower. So you have a woman that's working at Chick-fil-A that devalues another employee that working at Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? That will become more of a high probability that will happen more than the 10 to 20, maybe possible 30% of them that might say, you know, I don't care. You work with me. I'm attracted to you. I spend more time with you than I going out to the bar or to a club or something like that. We could build something together. That's about 30% of the 100% of people that's in the middle lower class that actually respect each other. It's about 30% of them that probably respect each other as human beings and want to build something with each other, build a family, build prosperity with each other. So you got 40 years of this going on, and a lot of people go crazy. A lot of women say, oh, it's a lot of men on the internet talking about black women, and everybody, it's men on the internet talking about women and all this other stuff. No, it's 4 years. 4 or 5 years that men are being communicative about this, or the culture is communicating this in the airwaves on the internet now. But the actual action of it, the actual interaction of the denigration of men and the devaluation of middle class and lower class and all that stuff, that's something going on for like 40, 50 years. It's been action. No talking about it. Action. And people, that's why you got the high divorce rates. That's why you got, like, men are not getting married. They're not having kids. Women are not getting married. Women are not having kids. In the high rate, it's because the interaction been going on for about 40, 50 years now. But now we communicating about it. But guess what? The communication actually makes us have to evaluate why we doing that to each other. Is this best for society? I listen to podcasters that I like, man. I like these podcasters. They call themselves being Christian and all that stuff like that. But their advocacy is level up. That's all that matters. Level up. And I say to be very combative and angry and very like on attack mode, you should level up. It gives you more armor and execution on really putting people in their place and proving people wrong. You know what I'm saying? But while you're fighting and you're leveling up and you're getting all that anger to kind of like make something of yourself and be in a higher value, you're missing love and relationships and pure humanity and pure respect and even like just creating a life in this world or something. You're missing all that because you're aggressive and you're a go-getter and you got to do everything as possible to accomplish what you're accomplishing, so everything is secondary. And if you're really execution on it, you don't allow anything to come into the picture that may stop big risk and big reward. You get what I'm saying? So if you have a kid, you got to be a little bit more safe. You get what I'm saying? You can't be as crazy and risky. You got to be a little safe. So I got to take care of my kid. I got to take care of my wife. I got to take care of my baby mama. I can't really be having them out there like that. So you go more into subduedness to a regiment, and that becomes part of your life for 10, 20 years before you even think of expanding yourself or leveling up or whatever, because you're trying to keep secure. You're trying to secure people. You're not trying to have them hurt and not be able to have a roof over their head, or lights and the energy and all the other stuff. So when you don't have kids, when you don't like put that kind of risk on yourself, you're able to be risky for a little bit longer, and you're actually able to kind of plot it out a little bit better, or even fluctuate and learn and fail and succeed, you get what I'm saying? You're able to go through that process because you don't have the risk factor of your kid not eating, your kid not having the clothes on their back, they're not in the right schools, or they're not been able to be educated well or parent well and stuff like that. You don't have that, so you could go a little harder. I always tell people, when you're trying to accomplish a big goal, like building a company, purchasing a house, or like doing something really big, you get what I'm saying, where it's equity and asset evaluation that's in the hundreds of thousands. When you're doing that, I always tell people you got to take a risk and you got to go at it like you're 25 years old, where if you succeed, you succeed. If you don't, you could do it again. And you do it again. You got risk and enough time for the next 10 to 20 years to risk. That's why I say you got to live like you're 25. You got to do things like you're 25. It's really aggressive. It's not about, oh my God, I failed. It's like, I don't care. Let's do it again. I get what happened. I know what happened. Let me do that again. But this time I'm going to do it this way, this way, this way. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to not do that. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like, you could do that if you're in a 25-year-old mindset. But if you're 40, 50, everything, it's got to be executable. What you're doing, you got to know the results of it. Otherwise, don't even do anything. Go stay confined. So that's why I say in the midst of this culture and the life that we're living in, I really feel that everybody makes this world, and you should be grateful, and everybody deserves respect and utmost respect. A man and a woman, I don't care if the guy working at Popeye's Chicken and the woman's a lawyer. You respect that man like he's the head of your firm, even if he works at Popeye. Why? Because it builds a foundation that will be a little bit more positive towards the end goal that you both want. You know what I mean? But we don't live in that world now. And I'm not saying do this, you guys. I'm not saying women should, like, that's in a high status should mess with under leveled people. I don't care. I don't think you should judge. Whoever you kind of come across, you got to let yourself be open to a person that's going to treat you with respect, and you guys can come together and build the life you want together. But people are trying to evaluate how they get to that life together and what's the circumstances of it that they get into, and you can't. Two people get into a relationship and they build that relationship, not build yourself and I'm gonna evaluate if I should even mess around with you if you were of value for me to even acknowledge you as a human being or a worthy competitor. Well, okay, you done that for 40, 50 years. It ain't worked out. You got a bunch of female lawyers, and you got a bunch of single wealthy men or not wealthy men, well-to-do guys, and the guys who got good economic situations, and they're playing the fields. Why? Because it ain't hard to get laid. It ain't hard to get laid. There's two things that men want in this world. Two things. Accomplish and conquer and achieve. That's what they want. Or getting laid. That's it. Those are two things men want. And if you don't really gotta, level up really high to get laid, why that's on the table? Why you was thinking that's the value that you bring to this situation? No. Where I'm going and your submissiveness to where I'm going is what your value is. And if you're not willing to do that, I could go get laid. You know what I'm saying? I could go to other women for company and all that stuff, and that could be endless because it's plenty of women that are not really like, you're not doing no courting. They're coming to men as virgins. You get what I'm saying? Or a dowry from your family. You're coming in as used goods. You're coming in as damaged. So I'm not saying that ain't bad. Of course, it's okay. Men date women that dated men, that been with other men, that had other families. But when you start to actually say, hey, give me your value, dance the jig for me, then the man has to say, no, why should I dance the jig for you? You don't got no value. You don't have no value. I'm not trying to marry you. You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, you're not so valuable that I'm trying to court. Then I say, oh my gosh, she's 10 to where I'm going and what I need and what I'm seeking to be in the room with me. When I walk into a room with sharks, this is who I want by my side. You don't have that kind of value. You may think you are, but you're not. Get what I'm saying? So in that situation, that's the valuation that guys have. We have that in a snap of a finger. It's like a light switch that we go into that thought process. So in that situation, that's the culture, that's the environment, that's the society we have now. We have those conflating difference. Women think that men are not leveled up well, so they might as well do it by themselves or be by themselves. They could do bad by themselves. And men say, well, I ain't gotta dance the jig and meet up to your expectation because your value is not so great that I can't get another you. Just tripping and falling into it. You get what I'm saying? So you got those two rivalries going on. You got relationships like they are right now and divorce rates and all that stuff like that. So if our relationships are like that, could you imagine how bad our politics is? Like how really, really bad we are in the actual political understanding of what's going on. You get what I'm saying? So like I started off by saying, if you want to understand government, just think about that it's more government employees than Apple employees. It's more government employees than ExxonMobil employees. And they're the biggest companies in the world. So we made the biggest company in America the U.S. government. And it's not even producing a product. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. I know that's hard for y'all to wrap your head around, and we can walk into scenarios but there's common sense. It's common sense. That should not be like that, and we should not be advocating it. Everybody, but you're gonna fire millions of people. There's 4 million people as employees of the government. In order to make this make sense, you gotta fire 3 million of them. Well, so damn be it. What have they done to our government? What have they done to your individual rights? You can't even say what you want to say no more. You know what I mean? Well, that's hate speech. So what? Hate speech is freedom speech. Ku Klux Klan member has the right to say whatever he wants to do, to post what he wants on the line, to communicate what they want, to go out and do rallies. They can do whatever they want. Why? Because you got the First Amendment and you got the Second Amendment and you got it fully in use. You get what I'm saying? Black Americans, we using guns against human beings more than anybody in the country. You get what I'm saying? We're killing a lot of people in the country. You know, so it's not like we don't like. Well, like the great white man is stopping us from being able to recklessly use guns. Black people are recklessly using guns the most in the whole country. Minorities are. You want to add a little Hispanic in there? It's ridiculous, y'all. So I don't want to hear this stuff, and I know I'm saying a lot. In a very, very condensed area. You want me to not summarize it. You want me to go a little bit more in detail, and I want to. You know, but I almost been talking about it for an hour, and I really want to get into what I gotta go do, and then I'm gonna come back, and then hopefully I get to talk about some of the stuff that's in the address to Congress that Trump is giving out tonight. But what I really want to talk to you guys about really quick, and the whole point of this is because and I already kind of communicated a little bit of it in the beginning, but the truth of the matter is we have a every man for themselves culture in society in America. And maybe this is like this in the rest of the world too. But for America, it's a every man for themselves society. And the destruction of that, the destruction of that is that we have to interact with each other knowing that we're ready to kill each other at any given moment. And not really kill each other, let's say we're willing to destroy or hurt the prosperity of each other for something that's momentarily, or it's like, how can I say, it's temporary. So for temporary thought process, for temporary emotions, for temporary self-gratification, we're willing to destroy each other and economically hurt each other and really hurt the can I say the value of each other for temporary things, for momentarily kind of situations or scenarios that are in the moment. So we're willing to, I see it all the time. It's so much money that we have all around us that we all can kind of come together and do great and good growth things for. But some people come into a multi-$100,000 situation with $15,000 and they want you to value the $15,000 like it's multi-$100,000, but the only way you could get what's you're doing done is you got to have the multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you start off with the $15,000 and then you do everything you can to get the rest of the hundreds of thousands of dollars to have an execution of the goal. And the value of the goal is $15,000. And you're like, what? No. The value of the goal is how much was spent on it, how much energy and money and what it took to actually get it done. Not the $15,000. You know what I'm saying? If a person put $165,000 in and you put $15,000 in, the value of the person who put the $165,000 is who's capital, who's the most important. Whatever that value was, whatever it took to get that work done and that evaluation done, that's the master. You know what I'm saying? So, but people are willing to be destructive to each other for something that's minuscule. And I'm like, why would we get in a fight about $15,000 where it took $165,000 and whatever you was trying to get out of it, you got because somebody else put a bigger fish in it. And now your $15,000 is a value now. Otherwise, contractually, take the 165,000, put it on something else, let that other thing die. But that you didn't, and you kept fighting for it, and you kept going for it, and you executed on it. Now, everything's got some value to it. Every percentage got a value to it. Every equity value has a value to it because you didn't take the easy way out and just let it fall to the wayside and move to something else. So I'm telling you, that's an example of business independently that you may do. You know, I always tell people have a HUD house approach, meaning that everything that you get into, be willing to pay what you would pay for a HUD house. Well, so what would you pay for a HUD house? You probably put $15,000-$30,000 into a beat up, destructive thing that you pay for that you get from foreclosure from the state or a mass foreclosure from a banking portfolio, and it's gutted and it's terrible and it's just a mess, and you got to put $70,000 to $100,000 in to repair it. So you buy it for like $15,000-$30,000. You put about $70,000 to $100,000 into the renovation of it. You got a house that's worth $140,000 to $150,000 on the market. You put it on the market. You get someone to pay for the house. You get a $40,000 return. But you had to put $140,000 in. I'm sorry, you had to put $100,000 in to making it valuable for $140,000. So you only get a $40,000 profit, but you invested $100,000 to get that $40,000. You know what I'm saying? So now that you sold the house for $150,000, you're able to get that $40,000 to $50,000 equity profit, but you also get your $100,000 initial investment back in. But the investment is such a huge, because it's literally 60% of the value of what you actually the venture of flipping the house, the HUD house. You got to have that approach in everything you do, in every business, in every growth process that you put in, that you actually going for. If you don't have that, you don't need to be in anything. Stay home. Don't think big. So I've been trying to communicate that to a lot of people, and I had to actually part from a lot of people because they didn't understand that. And I'm saying, like, yeah, you guys, it's at a certain age, you try and you try till you succeed. Then at a certain age, make good judgments and execute on them wholeheartedly. So 25 years old to, I'll say 35, 40, take chances. You take risks. 40 to 55 to 60, everything you're doing, you better execute on it and make good judgment to what you're executing on. And you need to know the outcome of it. Otherwise, don't even do it. What's the high probable outcome? Not possible outcome, probable outcome. So this now, I'm going to end it by talking about the self-preservation culture. I'm telling you, it's no way to, I'm not coming in here to say a remedy for it or how we get over it or how we improve from it or how we kind of heal from it or stop doing it. I think we're self-preservation probably for the rest of my life, meaning that the next 30, 40 years, we still going to be on it. And it's going to be the outcome of it. We're too in the muck of it. It's no way to heal. It's a self-preservation culture. We have a self-preservation society. And the only thing you could do is to be self-preservation. You cannot, for me, I'm going to tell you the honest God truth. It took me about 3 years to even want to even go into the mindset of self-preservation. I'm like, no, we doing this together. Let's do this together, y'all. Let's make this happen together. Let's do this. We could do something really big here, man. Don't you understand that when you're making a film, like Michael Bay that's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Antoine Fuqua, Tyler Perry, and Jordan Peele, every single production they go in with a team that's with them on every single project. And I can't keep 5 or 10 people to stay loyal to what we're trying to get accomplished because everybody trying to be self-preservative. You won't take the absolute risk. It's about self-preservation. And now, when you try to fight against that self-preservation, they actually use money and energy and they hide in their intellect and what their ability is to destroy you, to do stuff against you. So it's like, wow, man, if you use all that energy, if you use all that resources and all that power to execute on what we were doing, this would have been 100 times easier. But that's the energy. That's the people are not fired up unless they make you an enemy that they can go against you. It's crazy. And then you'd be like, why are you doing that? It's for self-preservation. It's me, 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 me. And I fought against it, and I lost a lot fighting against it. And the things, if I look at all the things I did to preserve, like do my contracts right, my business right, to make sure that I'm not allowing people to have control, power over what I'm doing, all that stuff actually played positive to what my outcome is now. It actually is the thing that lets me breathe and lets me be able to actually survive and fight another day. All the things I did to preserve myself just in case this stuff was going on underneath the surface in a very passive aggressive way. If this was going on, do this to your paperwork, do this to your contracts, do this to your ownership. And that's what makes it where I'm strong and I'm able to stand fast and be able to lift my head up and even do this podcast with you guys. The things I did just in case people were evil and they were slithering and slimy and untrustworthy. The things I did to counteract that in the jump, in the beginning of everything, is what's helping me be able to stand up tall and be very, how can I say, sovereign. You get what I'm saying? So self-preservation is our culture. It's the way it is. And the people that's listening to this podcast, you'll be dead and gone before we go into another direction. So the best way I can say is, it's sad, but you have to do what's for the best interest of you. And you go in even with that posture too. And it sucks, but you know, that's just the way it is. You give the perception. Oh, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this. We're doing this something. But the truth of the matter is you're really making sure you don't get destroyed. You get what I'm saying? And what most people be self-preservation about is not really valuable in the real world or in the big picture of big accomplishments, but that's all they care about. And so they will hurt something very big and very fruitful and very great for some temporary self-gratification and self-preservation situation. So what you're going to have to do if you're a big thinker, a big doer, or at the same time somebody that's got a big goal that you're trying to execute on, is you have to self-preserve that you and what you're trying to do is what's the most important thing. And if everything don't play to that, burn it off, break off, disconnect. I'll come back soon. My name is Daris D. McKinney. I'm just telling it like it is in this episode. And it's almost like a preemptive before we listen to the Tell It Like It Is address to Congress tonight by Donald J. Trump. But It's the best way I could kind of communicate to you guys what I feel about society and business and how we got to interact with each other and stuff like that. It's not good. It's not, I know it's not positive, but it's just the way it is. And you can, of course, you could be on the up and you could be having a good time and your money is tight and your life is good. And you could kind of give the perception that this is not what your mindset is, but it is. If you're very intelligent, where you're really looking at everything, this is what your mind is and this is what it should be. And I'm pretty sure I'm preaching to the choir almost, or people understand what I'm saying, or maybe I'm enlightening some people to why they didn't look at certain situations that they had, and hopefully I communicated something that's make a little bit more sense to you guys. My name is Daris D. McKinney. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that PayPal and that Venmo in the description area up. And look, I don't even know if people are going to be able to watch this on YouTube, but I had to do it. Speak to you guys soon. And I know it's pretty wild.